Hello everyone, Razorblade Mango here. Let's talk about this whole Horizon remaster leak situation. Because I find it kind of annoying. When I first heard the news of it, I kind of rolled my eyes and went, oh god, we just got out of this with The Last of Us remake. Are we really doing this again? Now, it hasn't been confirmed at this point whether or not it's going to be a remaster like Marvel Spider-Man or Uncharted 4 or Lost Legacy, or if it's going to be a remake, and I'm using air quotes, remake of The Last of Us like we saw less than a month ago now, where they touch up on a lot of it visually, they add in a lot of accessibility features, and then they put it out there for the full $70 price tag. Now, for me, even though I've seen some people point to because it came about in a leaked document as well, that, you know, they were doing The Last of Us, it lists it as a remaster, but this document apparently was back in 2021, and it apparently, from what other sources have now come out to say, is that this will be like The Last of Us remake, sort of, where they're going to be using the new updated version of the Decima engine, which is the engine that powers Horizon and Death Stranding as well, and it's going to be a upgrade to the character models, to the lighting, to the texture work, basically to make it look more like how shiny Horizon Forbidden West is. They're going to add in some quality of life features apparently, and they're going to add in the wonderful accessibility options from Forbidden West, or I hope they more go in line with the extensive accessibility options in Last of Us Part 1, which I thought was amazing. I can't give the tech wizards at Sony enough credit for a lot of the accessibility stuff they bring to the games. That's not my problem. My issue in theory is not that they are touching up the graphics and the gameplay of Horizon Zero Dawn. That's not my problem in theory, because if Sony had not already, you know, expressed and acted on tendencies to nickel and dime its loyal fan base, I'd be a lot more optimistic about this. I'd go, oh, okay, like if we were doing, you know, if we were still in like late era PS4, even like really early PS5 era with the Marvel Spider-Man remaster, I would be a lot more optimistic if we were in that time frame. But considering, you know, all the dumb things Sony have done the last few years, the greedy bullshit that they have tried to do and succeeded in a lot of areas, I am of the mind that this is going to be a $70 remake, unlike, you know, like The Last of Us Part 1, more akin to that than Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. And I want PlayStation to prove me wrong. You know, I want them to come out and say, hey, look, this is only going to be, you know, like $40, $30. Hell, I'll even take $50, you know? $50 for a heavily remastered version of Zero Dawn, where it's the same game, but they touch up the graphics, they make the melee combat a lot better, i.e. not shit. They bring in accessibility features, all that. They charge, you know, $50 for it, $40 for it. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is them possibly bring Zero Dawn out again and then going, oh, hey, please pay us $70 for this. It's like, what? what? Like, come on. Like, we just had this with Last of Us, and Zero Dawn is a newer game compared to The Last of Us. Zero Dawn is only like 5 years old now. We're already gonna remake it and charge y'all again a $70 possibly? I hope not. And I think the reason I'm a lot less like what the fuck about it is because we don't know the specifics about what this is yet. And I want to, fully put that out there. I'm not ringing the alarm bells yet. But what I am saying is that I don't trust modern PlayStation to not try that Last of Us shit again, where they're gonna bring that out for $70. I don't trust them, and I don't think you should either. And I was watching Mystic Ryan this morning, who I really like. I'm a big fan of his work, and he was talking about how he's confident that this is gonna be more of a remaster situation, like Marvel Spider-Man, like Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy, that bundle. But I am a lot more cynical than I think Mystic Ryan is about this whole thing, because I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm not gonna give Sony that benefit of the doubt anymore. They, at least in that regard. And another thing that bothers me about this as well is that I think PlayStation are starting to reach that point where they don't understand what makes these franchises special. And they're starting to veer more into the Marvel Star Wars territory, where Disney believes that in order to make Marvel and Star Wars successful and profitable, they just need to spam out as much of it as they humanly possibly can. And that's why I'm so sick and tired of Marvel. That's why I'm so sick and tired, for the most part, of Star Wars. If they were to go away and never come back until I was dead, I would be happy with that. I would be fine with that. And I'm starting to feel the same way about some of these PlayStation franchises. And I was actually talking about this in the Last of Us video, where I said I think The Last of Us is starting to reach that point of stagnation where it's just like, okay, like it's The Last of Us again, and they've had the original game, they had part 2, they had the first game remastered and remade. Now they're gonna have a TV show that's coming out next year, and they're gonna have the factions multiplayer mode sometime maybe next year, early 2024, possibly. That's quite a bit for a series that's not even 10 years old now. And then I look at Horizon, what they're doing with that, and the rumored projects that are in the pipeline, and I think, oh my god, it's even worse over there, because Horizon Zero Dawn came out in 2017. So Horizon has been out for public consumption for over 5 years now. And within the next 5 years, I assume, let's say hypothetically the projects that they have in the pipeline come out within the next 5 years. So within these 10 years that Zero Dawn has been out, we've gotten the first game, we've gotten Forbidden West, we're getting the remaster / remake of the first game. We're gonna get what I assume, DLC. We're gonna get some kind of DLC pack for Forbidden West, which that I'm fine with. We're gonna get a Netflix show of Horizon, which I assume will probably be terrible. And then we're gonna get a rumored Horizon multiplayer game, which again, I'm actually on board with that in theory, and I'll explain why in a bit. And then this is also on top of Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is coming out next year. And then we're also going to have Horizon 3, which I assume will come out within like 4 to 5 years. My theory about what makes a franchise special is when it's not around. when it goes away for a while and I'm given time to miss it. I'm interested in theory in some of the things that they have coming out, but as far as actual excitement, not really, because I just don't. And again, this brings me back to, I don't think PlayStation really understands what makes these franchises exciting, is that they have a willingness to let franchises go away for a while. At least that was the old PlayStation. You know, God, we haven't gotten a new game in like a lot of their classic franchises in so long, and people want these. They may not sell millions upon millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of copies like God of War or Horizon or Last of Us or any other shit that came out, like Ghost of Tsushima, any of these other games that came out. It may not sell that many, but you know, people want these. And yet PlayStation just is not willing to give us new games in these franchises. And I'm not even thinking about a second party title like Bloodborne. I'm thinking more along the lines of, you know, Infamous, Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter, Ape Escape, just, you know, just those like old franchises. Like, hey, you know, these could come back in a great way. They could be, you know, really well made and fun. And, you know, they won't sell millions of copies, or they may not, but it's worth a try if people really want them. But PlayStation now just has this safe but boring strategy of just going back to what works. They're just like, oh, Horizon works. We'll just keep making Horizon. Oh, Last of Us works. We'll just keep making Last of Us. Oh, God of War works? Greenlight that Amazon TV show immediately. And now they're starting to do the thing where they want to have these multimedia franchises. They want to have things like, they're making a Gran Turismo movie, which, okay. They're making that really bad sounding Twisted Metal TV show for Peacock. Okay. And then there's the rumor of them doing things like Jack and Daxter movie, which, why are you doing a Jack and Daxter movie when there hasn't been a game made for it in a long time? What are you doing, if that's real? And then there's also the rumor, there's been a rumor for a while that they're gonna do a Demon Souls movie, which, like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Like, and then there's this recent interview, I think it came out this morning, of Herman Hulst talking, I think it was either like Axios or one of these publications, and he said something along the lines of, oh, now that we've invested in From Software, I wouldn't be surprised if we were to have PlayStation Productions, you know, do something with a From Software game. You know, he's talking about either Demon Souls or Bloodborne, but we haven't had anything from Bloodborne since Old Hunters came out back in 2015, and yet they're talking about, oh, we need to do, you know, let's do a PlayStation Productions thing, and it's like, no, you know, and again, this is a separate point, but I'll make it because I think it relates back to, you know, them pimping out these fucking franchises to the point of being oversaturated. Is that these movies and TV shows, unless they're really great, unless they're really well written, they kind of just feel pointless. They just defeat the point of these video games. Why would you want to watch a Bloodborne movie or a Demon Souls movie when the whole point of the games is that the lore is very vague unless you go out and find it for yourself? The point of From Software's games, you know, even including the things that PlayStation doesn't own, like Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Sekiro, is that they are all about the thrill of discovery. You know, these things work uniquely as video games. And yet, here comes PlayStation talking about, oh, let's turn them into movies, let's turn them into TV shows, let's have PlayStation Productions be involved with it. And I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but just them floating out the idea of it in a publicly released interview, that doesn't give me a lot of confidence that they know what the hell they're doing with the franchises they have under their belt. Other than to just pimp them out for more money, pimp them out for more exposure, and I just like grow weary of it over the years. And the last point that I want to make, because I said that I would talk about this earlier, is that in theory, I don't mind some of these games being made. In theory, I don't mind a Horizon remaster. In theory, I don't mind a multiplayer game in the Horizon universe, because that could be really fun. That's something that, you know, Maddox, Dog, and I have talked about before. It's like, oh, that'd be really cool if they made a co-op Horizon game we could all play together. That'd be a lot of fun, even if it is a live service. I don't mind the idea of a Horizon VR game, because I think that could be pretty cool. But under this new PlayStation and releasing these things so close together within like only like maybe 1 to 2 years apart, it just it doesn't work for me, because I like it when things go away. I like it when series I like go away for years on end, and I get to miss them. Like, I miss Bloodborne. I would love a Bloodborne 2. I miss Sly Cooper. I would love to see a new Sly Cooper. And yet, PlayStation, because they're so fucking boring and so reliant on chasing mainstream attention, they're just gonna do the shit that got the mainstream attention now. They're just gonna be like, oh, God of War sold a fuckload, let's just make another game, let's do a TV show. Oh, Horizon made a lot of money, let's do a VR game, let's do a multiplayer game, let's do a remaster / remake of the first game, let's do a Horizon TV show on Netflix, let's do a Horizon Forbidden Forbidden West sequel. You know, like, this is too many. There's too much shit. And yet, the weird thing is that I already feel tired by these franchises, and PlayStation hasn't even fucking said anything about what their upcoming lineup is gonna be in 2023. Aside from, like, Spider-Man, or potentially Spider-Man if it doesn't get delayed. And then Horizon Call of the Mountain. What the fuck else is there? Helldivers 2 got leaked, but we don't know that's coming out in 2023. All the shit that got leaked in this new document that's been floating around, we don't know if any of this is coming out in 2023. So what do you got? You know? And I don't blame PlayStation for, you know, maybe having a backed up pipeline due to COVID. I don't blame them for that. What I do blame them for is then just taking the easy way out, instead of using that time and money and resources to fund a smaller game in a new franchise that might be popular. They're gonna go out and fucking remaster Horizon Zero Dawn. They're going out and remaking The Last of Us. So what? And I guarantee you, I guarantee you that one of these days during this generation, they're gonna start remaking God of War. They're going to start remaking Uncharted. It's just, they're going to remake the original trilogy, which that to me honestly makes more sense than a remake / remaster of The Last of Us and Horizon. So I don't understand what, I mean, I understand it from a cold business standpoint, but as a lifelong fan of the work, the brand is just becoming a lot more like just boring and shallow, and you got all these annoying bean counters at the top now, and it's just like, I'm just tired. I just want new things and the return of old things that are not as new as Horizon or God of War or Uncharted or Last of Us. Just move on. Move on to a new slate of things, and then bring back some of the old things you haven't touched in a while. And then I haven't even brought up Ghost of Tsushima in this whole thing, because they're going to have Ghost of Tsushima, and then we're going to have Ghost of Tsushima 2, and it's more than likely we're going to get a remake of Ghost of Tsushima, and then we're going to get the Ghost of Tsushima movie, and just, oh my god, just stop. Please, just stop. Just stop. Anyway, that's it for me today. Yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn is getting a remaster / remake, and I'm willing to bet money that it will be $70. Prove me wrong, PlayStation. Prove me wrong, Jimmy boy.